at what these wins mean for our 4 playoff teams. So Team Fusion and Final 5 are still fighting to stay out of 4th place and a date with NME eSports in the first round if they do hit 4th. If the standings hold today, this is exactly what's going to happen, and Final 5 would have to carry that bird.
Yeah, nobody really wants to do that. Remember, the winner of the Challenger Playoff Finals now directly enters the NA LCS, and the 2nd and 3rd place finishers compete in the Summer Promotion Tournament on April 25th and 26th.
And also take note, hipsters, you can see the newest LCS team in person on the big stage before they become pro.
Exactly. You want to be that Lumberjack Scion hipster there. So get your tickets. The Spring Challenger Finals will take place live on the NA LCS stage on Wednesday, April 8th. Tickets are still available at lolesports.com/tickets.
Now, we are only moments away from the rematch of NME eSports and Final 5. Here's what happened last night when these two teams traded blows.
And both them came out, but this is the big thing, is you left Nidalee up for Inox. It's the first time he's gotten that champion. It doesn't really fit that comp, though. This is a forward motion composition that has Inox for poking people off, but you can work with it with throwing spears when you're at an objective and threatening the engage if one lands.
Yeah, meanwhile, on the other side for Final 5, they have kind of a Juggernaut composition, and Impaler on Rengar doesn't really make sense with it, but they got 2 supports and a Kog'Maw. Gnar as a front line, that's fine. You just want to keep people off the Kog'Maw.
Yeah.
Problem is, when they play the game, it doesn't work out that way for Final 5. They actually end up prioritizing the wrong lanes. We're going to ourselves into the game and see what happens as we get ourselves through the match. It starts off really with Rux doing very well on top lane against Flares. Hits level 6, goes right in for it.
Yeah, immediately. But Flares actually gets that E off, so he stops the fact that Rux can immediately R him into the wall for just that extra second.
Yeah, but the problem is bottom lane's already been losing. He's down 50 CS, Veritas, and gets just exploded. Notice the scoreline, by the way. A 2-1-1 Gnar. All the ganks top lane for Final 5. No pressure bot lane for them. Yeah. Veritas suffering for it.
3-1-1 right now. Look at that. Impaler misses the bola onto Inox, and he's able to flash away. And they continue focusing down body drop with all of their might.
The thing is, that would normally work, and Rux is now really big, but the problem is he didn't peel Flares. The front line isn't getting rid of the threats, and just the Hecarim dive bombing the back line, gets rid of the only threat on the composition. No wonder the team fight fails. Here, 100 CS down on Kog'Maw. This fight would have been good for Final 5.
Yeah, and you can see there, they try to get on Inox. He's almost dead, but they immediately take out Rux, the member who they put so many resources into. And Veritas is left here, 1-3-2, 100 CS down, and he's struggling to do anything. And look at that. All the ganks don't mean anything at the end of the day, because the Hecarim ends up outscaling and solo killing the Gnar.
So easy 4-on-4 in the bot lane now. Just the hardcore dive engage Lulu. Knockup matters a little bit. Like, Veritas isn't dying, but he just, again, doesn't deal any damage anymore. He's now down 110 CS, 1-3-2. Just Final 5 unable to get Veritas and Kog'Maw started, and game ends very similarly. Yeah,
and they put a lot of eggs into that basket of Rux in the top lane when it's to protect the Kog'Maw composition, like we said. And NME played that perfectly with kind of just letting Flares do his own thing. He's getting camped, but then he just split pushes all game and shows up to the fights and gets his ultimate onto the back line, immediately negating the Kog'Maw threat.
Yeah, so you can see 3 big scorelines we want to mention for this game. Flares on Hecarim, despite being camped, started the game, I think, like 1-3 overall. Yep. Still a good scoreline, still a lot of gold. Inox gets Nidalee, immaculate, highest KDA for any player who's played more than 1 game in the Challenger Series overall. That Veritas Kog'Maw, 3,000 gold down, and some of the big forces in the NME team just doesn't get damage output on that champion.
Yeah, and when you are the main focus, you're kind of the protect the Kog'Maw, you need a lot of resources funneled into you. It's like camping for a Lulu and protect the Kog'Maw. It's not going to help you out. His shield will be a little stronger, but you need that damage because he's almost the sole damage source on the team.
Yeah, and that was the problem. The team lost the 2-on-2 lane, generally speaking, and they never really recovered from there. So one thing to point out, I guess, with that is the fact that this Final 5 team swapped their roster around last week. They brought Sheep in as support. They brought Impaler into the jungle. So far, this has not worked well for that team. They are 0-3 on this new lineup, and their final game of the regular season is going to be right now. As we get ourselves into this match for today, we actually want to watch the jungler specifically. It is Trashy for NME eSports and Impaler on Final 5.
Yep, 2 Europeans. In this matchup, around the same KDA, but you can see Trashy, he's been around a little longer, so his are a little inflated, but this guy applies so much pressure. He's back. He was only gone for 1 game. Went back to Europe, got his visa so quickly, and he's ready to roll. This is a very scary jungler, and he's regarded as the best jungler in the Challenger Series for a reason.
Meanwhile, Impaler just having not the best start to the season overall. 4 deaths in 3 games. We're going to see his 4th game here. Like, his scoreline looks fine. Yep. And actually, when you see them play games, especially if you watch last week's games, Final 5 looks pretty good. They're winning up until 25 minutes. Problem is, they just don't seem to find a way to be able to play the mid game very well. They've had some really bad Baron calls over and over again. It seems like Coast hasn't left Impaler entirely. And it's just kind of heartbreaking to watch Final 5's sort of last 2 games this split.
Yeah, and you were talking about how he's lost 3 games, but the fact that he's only died, what, 4 times?
In 3 losses.
3 losses is extremely incredible, but it also speaks to the late game shot calling on that team. And it's kind of reminiscent of how Coast was at the start of their season.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens now at the very end for Final 5. If they want to get out of that 4th place spot, they got to win here, and they need Fusion to lose their game later tonight. That is a chance for Final 5. If they lose otherwise, 4th place, guaranteed to face a team that they're... Right, like, here's the thing. If Final 5 loses here, they just face NME eSports again in the playoffs.
Yes.
And if they just 0-2 to them, they're probably going to do it again. And so this is kind of partially for a morale boost and partially maybe for just a move up in the standings to not face these guys again. Final 5 needs this game.
Yeah, also, these games are going to be very important if you do face that team again, to get as much out of them as you possibly can. Like, you didn't ban in Italy the first time. You're like, okay, we have to remedy that mistake. Ban that the next time. Now what is Inox going to play? Because Victor is disabled right now. It's 5-5. Bard is enabled. Victor is disabled. And he's played that champion multiple times, and we saw that. So we got to get more out of Inox, but he plays so many things that we've seen, and he's always successful with it.
He's just generally good on mages in general, whether they're assassin mages or what, like LeBlanc, or whether they're the pokey ones or the team fighting ones. Just he has that magic damage sort of circle. All of them just kind of work out for him. Here we get ourselves into the picks and bans, though. Lysandra Zed removed away from Gate. He definitely has I would say, a fairly different champion pool from Inox.
Yeah.
But I don't want to see Final 5 play Protect the Cock again, certainly.
No, that did not work out for them. I know Veritas is a really good player.
Yeah.
He's up there near... Actually, Flares hit #1 challenger last night.
Oh, nice.
The other day. Overtook Veritas, overtook Double Lift. He's like, I'm #1, baby, as a top laner.
Yeah.
So he's carrying his team all over the place. And that's what I like to see, is when somebody plays that type of style and he's not kind of funneled into playing something else, right? This guy plays the Aurelia. He's gotten the Scion. He's gotten the Rumble. He's also gotten with Hecarim,
bunch of Hecarims,
multiple times.
Yeah, a bunch of Hecarims I like. Flare's like, he'll start the game 1-4 and then just rampage people anyway. So, which actually is an ability.
That's great. That's great, though. Like, he also actually has the Hecarim and Summoner spells right now.
I know.
But like,
I'm ready for that being picked.
The thing with playing that top lane and playing it the way that he does is if you draw so much attention, then you free up the rest of your team, and Enemy is the type of team that uses that. They're like, you're getting camped, we're not going to have Trashy counter gank that, we're just going to go focus him somewhere else, because if you're going to start being worth less and less gold, it's going to be okay, we're going to go get a more important part of the map.
Yeah.
Fed.
Well, that's the weird thing. If you want to kind of go down that rabbit hole of what do you do about top lane champions, and by the way, Ruck's getting Hecarim for himself means that they can't for him.
Change those Summoner spells players.
Yeah, he's not going to get that champion, certainly. Maybe a different pony champion. I think there's any other horse-based ones. Sejuani kind of, but like not really.
Boar.
Yeah, not a lot of other bounce champions. Yeah, I know.
Nobody rides a horse
a bear.
in this game.
She rides a Poro sometimes.
Nobody rides a horse.
No cavalry.
Soraka?
She's just a unicorn. Or no, not. Either way.
She's a star child. She's celestial.
Doesn't matter. Either way, Final 5, though, with Rux on more of a carry top lane, I actually like that. I think it's a good style for them, especially if Impaler is going to make those plays top lane. His Rengar is still up, and I mean, his Rengar is still pretty damn good. Impaler is no slouch of a player, so we might just see Rux get camped for and actually carry the game here, but another carry top laner, Flares on Rumble, is going to be pretty happy. Body drop gets his own Morgana. Just pretty much it's like we didn't even change patches.
Yeah, at the moment, but I mean, Bard's showing right now, so
yeah,
there's something a little...
Surprise!
Yeah, Sivir plus Hecarim is a very, very good combination.
Love
so
it.
Final 5 are drafting a lot of go into your face. This also allows you to draft things that don't have too much mobility in them, because Sivir gives them that mobility.
Lets you be even better about like comps like Kennen mid, like Sejuani jungle, just like a bunch of like in your face go team fight.
Skarner, Nautilus, like all these things that you could have low mobility. She covers that weakness for
Absolutely, and then we'll see then if Final 5 wants to supplement that in any kind of a way. Lee Sin jungle though for Impaler.
Okay.
They're saving their mid lane for last. Annie. I mean, I love the Annie Sivir combo. You have the mobility to get in range, and then the Annie stun to actually start the fight. And it's up to the rest of the team to play follow-up here. And we got to see what that follow-up is for Final 5.
Yeah, and Annie covers the range weakness of Sivir in lane, allows the harass and the trading to happen from her as well. So Impaler on Lee Sin, it's a champion that he started playing a whole bunch when he first came over to North America to be more of a playmaker. he's had some good showings on it. So seeing him back on that instead of the Rengar is actually really good in my opinion, because this is he's going to have to make plays, right? He was trying to make plays. He's got 4 deaths and 3 losses. So if he can just be a facilitator of the early game, especially against NME and shut down Trashy, which is a tall order, they can possibly run away with the game.
We'll see if that shutdown can happen. We'll see if they can run away with the game here, and maybe even faster with the Sivir ultimate. But NME eSports here, looking at the last couple of champions. Kalista does come through. It's a great lane matchup for Kalista. It's pretty damn hard to mind game Rend with Spell Shield. And it is gonna be the Urgot mid blind pick.
Is blind, like, okay, like I understand Urgot against Zed. I understand Urgot into some matchups, but blind picking it gives Gate. Basically, he can play anything he wants against that champion. He's just got to select the right thing. Is the thing. Like, if you don't know Urgot matchups and you pick something into it that does not work out, then you only have yourself to blame at that point. But I do want to talk about NME's comp now that it's completely locked in, right? Because they have a lot of mid-game power here. They first picked the Rek'Sai for Trashy. He's back. He's got that pressure. He loves to exert that early. He could camp flares in the top lane. He could exploit the Hecarim that has no escapes.
True.
Chase him down, be really, really potent in that lane.
Yeah.
Now it's all kind of mid-game pressure. Like Kalista late game is kind of wishy-washy, right? Like you don't have
if you're not threatened, you're okay.
Yeah.
I actually found the double lifesteal build, the Ruin King build, actually works out pretty damn well. It supplants that somewhat, and you actually get some pretty good damage down. So mid-show, by the way, is going to be the champion of choice for Gate. So
it looked like the old patch until these last couple of picks.
The jungle champions would fool you here. Okay, they are going to swap. I was like, there's a chance Jungle Cho mid Lee Sin. I doubt it highly. For what it's worth, by the way, this is actually the first week Challenger is on 5.5.
That's true.
Challenger is actually a week behind because their game's starting earlier on in the week. So the first couple of games we're seeing these teams on 5.5. Jungle Champions not changed much, but obviously Urgot showing up, part of that.
So the Urgot just having that tiny buff to his shield a little while ago.
I think that was 5.5.
Yeah, it's just the percent increase. And that's all it took. That's all it takes.
All right, well, it's going to be a fun one to watch. So mid-show, by the way, good sustain champion. Actually, really bursty. You don't have to put a lot of AP, but he actually gets a good amount of damage down. Anyway, it's going to be a fun one to watch. A lot of interesting champions. But to find out what other champions Challenger-level players are picking in the new patches, head over to lolesports.com and check out the article titled Rising from the Dead. I guess fitting we have Urgot in here.
Yeah, that's true. And, this article, it's all about what champs have risen from the grave since the 5.5 patch. Now, Nintendo, he claims that one returning champion now has the most devastating long-range ultimate in the game. And find out who he's talking about at lolesports.com.
Spoiler alert, that ult's actually nerfed in 5.6.
Only if you're bad at landing it.
So it got nerfed for you.
Yes.
That's unfortunate. Anyway, guys, getting ourselves into the game very soon. Urgot mid versus Cho mid, going to be a fun one to watch overall. NME eSports, nothing really to fight for. Final 5 hoping to claw their way out of 4th with a win here.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I do want to talk about that matchup, right? Like NME, they do have first seed locked in no matter what. They don't move with a win or a loss here. They're just exerting their dominance over the Challenger Series, only dropping 1 game so far. Now, Final 5 are trying to play upset to that. They can move in the standings based off how they perform here and also how I think it's Fusion performs later on in the day.
If Fusion loses and Final 5 wins, we will have a tie between the two teams, and they will tiebreak for the 3rd and 4th spot. Otherwise, if Fusion wins and TDK loses, we will have a tiebreaker for that 2nd, 3rd spot. And that would actually also shape up. Actually, no, they would just play each other just with a different seeding.
We'll get into bracketology at some point.
Yeah.
This mid lane matchup is actually very volatile.
Oh, yeah.
Because Cho'Gath doesn't have a lot of mobility available to him.
Nor does Urgot.
Right? They are both very immobile champions that rely on a certain ability to land that is ground-targeted AoE. So if both of them, it's basically whoever lands that first ability, you'll get your follow-up, right? The Noxian Corrosive Charge will allow the Acid Hunters to come through for a ton of poke onto Cho'Gath. Cho'Gath, Gate, if he can land a Rupture, he'll land a follow-up Feral Scream, 3-second silence. He'll walk away without eating Noxian Corrosive Charge. So it's all about this trading back and forth.
That's true. I'm actually really sad that Gate didn't pick Battlecast Prime Cho'Gath. Kind of like as a Who's Your Daddy sort of thing. Because it is Battlecast Urgot, unless I didn't see it right. So, unfortunate lack of skin intimidation here. Gate kind of behind the times. A bit of a dinosaur in this one. We're starting early. All right, but in the game at hand, so Ruck's going to do standard Hecarim things, take a camp. The Raptors by himself, NME eSports, the rest of their duo lane going to be taking the Krugs. Also, though, Lee Sin Impaler is starting Krug's top side, and a lane swap comes in for Final 5.
So lane swap from Final 5, but they do get the early level 2 on enemy side, but it doesn't really mean anything because they aren't in a 2-on-2 matchup.
It's true. It does just mean a little bit of extra XP. It also does mean that the chance of freezing is gone from NME eSports. We actually will not be seeing them able to build one very reliably. Bodydrop, though, realizes, hey, our duo lane's down here. We can make sure we control this blue buff, and Bodydrop's doing that.
Okay, so Rux does a camp. He's able to TP back into the lane with extra potions, hopefully surviving the lane for himself. But
Otter playing this pretty smart. He doesn't want to face check into Rux because he'll lose the trade.
Yeah.
But anytime Rux tries to CS, actually, this is great because if you juke in a brush, you actually drop the auto attacks.
Yep. Callista Spear, it's her passive to compensate for the fact that she just has so much mobility. If you duck into Fog of War, the spear just hits the ground and it cancels the auto attack.
Doesn't know how to lead her targets. Vengeance apparently doesn't know about momentum. Trashy. Nice. I like the Burrow fadeaway Q to get level 3, remove the Gromp, and then get a nice defensive trinket. So they can actually watch most routes you might see Rux get assistance from. But it seems like this 2-on-1 is going to be a fast push and just general turret pressure coming in.
Nope. Looking for the dive onto Rux.
Okay, looks like they're going to try. Bodydrop is going to pull aggro. Here comes the fight. Knockup is there. Immediate first blood. Nothing going wrong at all for NME eSports.
That was very clean. The fact that Bodydrop pulled aggro with the auto and the Tormented Soil, and he was immediately like, all right, I'll take as many hits as I can. Boom, backs up. The Rend at the same time as the bite didn't even really give Rux a chance to react.
No. And that's the problem. He has no actual combat stats in his inventory. No Cloth Armor, no Doran's Blade, no Doran's Shield.
He also has no escape summoners. That's the pitfall of picking a Hecarim, is you are so exploitable early on without those escapes.
Really powerful that NME eSports got level 3 on a fighter jungler. Got to use all, I guess, 5 offensive abilities and get a lot of damage out of it. A eventual push now coming up from the Final 5 duo lane, and Flair's already there.
Impaler's here, though. Impaler's here, but Trashy is coming to back this up, and he can't really dive this because Trashy will be there in time. He doesn't know about it, but he's sensing it.
Wow, what a great start for Final 5 overall. And Flair's I don't think is diveable anyway. Doran's Shield, Cloth Armor, just really hard to kill that champion. A lot of great things happen now for NME eSports to start this game out. Watch the mid lane, actually holding pretty close to equal.
Yeah, they've just been trading back and forth, trying to farm as much as possible. Inox has the flask, and Gate, he hasn't really had to burn through too many potions due to the Cho'Gath passive.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing.
He's getting 32 HP back every time he gets a minion.
This is something I want to talk about League of Legends a little bit. There's a very fine line you have to draw between passivity and aggression. If Gate thought, I lose this lane no matter what, I'm screwed, Inox would win the lane.
Yes.
Gate has to post up and actually fight for CS in order to have a chance at winning it. But it means he has to balance, can I be one-shot here? If the answer is no, he has to stay and actually sustain in the lane. You notice that Inox is respecting that sustain, respecting the way Gate's playing the lane, and doesn't burn his mana pool on futile damage.
Otherwise, he just completely runs out of mana, and then it's a win for Gate.
Exactly. It's free for Gate. So sustains at full health means nothing. They can look for the gank maybe later on. And
oh, the stun!
Oh, a lot coming in. No, not the one. Sorry, Otter. I got the names wrong, but a lot of pain coming through. But, oh, the flash away from Gate just in time. Yeah, gets the E-charge as well. Ignite is on. Very close battles back and forth. The red wasn't able to be used in time, actually, by Otter.
So a lot of aggression from both junglers, just trying to make early game moves, because that's what this is going to be about, is who gets that early game advantage. Enemy are all about this mid game here, because like Urgot late game, Callista late game, not that great. So now they're just trying to do as many dives as possible. Flares takes one more shot. Crash is going to take it.
Yeah, they look for the dive. They didn't quite have enough damage for it. Rux burning his Ignite, actually, really helped make sure that kill didn't come through. They realized the turret scare was just a little bit too high for him. One thing to keep in mind also, as Hecarim gains levels, that W, you heal for percentage of damage that your enemies take. You don't have to deal the damage.
Yeah.
So if they're turret diving you and the turret's doing like 100-something damage a second, you're healing for a percentage of the damage your turret's dealing back to them. So Hecarim, once he gets a little bit tanky, can be deceptively hard to dive because he'll heal so darn much more than other champions.
It's from any source.
Yeah.
The way that it is worded.
So if Baron's hitting him, if turret's hitting him, Fountain Laser probably counts too. I just imagine like diving a Hecarim under his fountain and he just like heals to full.
Speaking of diving a Hecarim, Doesn't even have to be under the fountain.
Oh, and the E timed out. No way he gets away from this one. There's the knockup, and they try to give it to Flares. He's already overheated. Auto attacks do like 170 damage. Not quite, but enough.
And here's the thing, is you can camp this Rumble lane over the Hecarim because he has no escape. You're just going to keep getting this Rumble into the mid game even further, and that's beneficial. It's not like there's a Kog'Maw or a Hyper Carry on the other side of the map that's struggling.
Exactly. Veritas is no longer a champion you have to worry about in the late game. Sivir's there to facilitate everyone else. Everyone else is 0-2 around the map, so definitely really great how NME eSports have played this game. Just the fact that they managed to abuse the Hecarim in lane swap and then abuse him once they swapped it back. Just very impressive play by these guys. There's a reason they're #1, and they're still showing it today.
Yeah, this dominance over the early game. It's really rare that you see NME lose an early game. And a lot of that is due to Trashy, and even when they didn't have Trashy, it showed that the team can really step up. And Shorter Race did a good job too when he was subbing in. Good job stealing kills.
Yeah, he started the game with like 3-0 on Lee Sin.
Yeah, walk up. Here's a kill for me. Oh,
yeah, he would like straight steal it too. Yeah.
It's worth more gold if you get an assist off.
That's true.
Instead of 300, it's 450. Like,
yep.
Do you not like further gold leads?
I mean,
come on.
You tax your mid laner 150 gold to get 300 on yourself. You should make an argument for that not being correct.
What are you talking about? That's worth.
It's a hard argument to make.
That's worth.
Well,
as a jungler, that is worth.
What if you're already full items?
It's still worth.
At that point, you just want to pad the KDA?
If I'm a jungler with 5 items, I hope that my mid laner is at least a little bit ahead of me. I know mid lane items
DC'd at the start.
Okay, then yeah. And also mid lane items are a little more expensive.
That's true. You keep your sight stone away from me. And your upgraded trinket. There, you're full build.
Implying that I buy a sight stone.
Yeah, Aiden is not a team player. Let's be real. Hold on, though.
Speaking
of team players, though, swap in. Gate gets a silence, so he predicted it or something. Puts the Rupture down, buys some time, but his flash is still down, and it means Inox is going to get the kill after all. 3-0, NME eSports.
And Trashy camping bottom, camping mid, getting these lanes off the ground and basically saying, once I've given them these kills, they can take care of themselves. So now, once he's upset them, he can start moving into the jungle with these advantages. Impaler, this isn't going to be his jungle for much longer.
It's already not. Super comes out, Trinket's gone, Trash is already putting wards down in the jungle.
Oh, you think you can camp
He's
here?
got a kick, kicks him back.
Whee!
He chose to flash. I don't know if he needed to necessarily, but he did anyway. And then Impaler just limps out of this one, down a summoner.
There's just so much pressure onto Final 5 now. Inox in that mid lane, the fact that
that hit?
Jeez. Body drop walking up just to get that auto attack. But the fact that the Hyperkinetic position reverser was interrupted by the Feral Scream and that little cast time on it, it's actually pretty neat.
Half-second cast time. You can predict it. I mean, you have to predict, but otherwise you're pretty much screwed. But hey, it almost bought Gate enough time, just didn't quite. So this Cho'Gath matchup starting to fall very far behind, down 21 CS, going from Relamicon. I think that's the most common mid-show build I see.
He needs
the CDR. Yeah, and then you go fairly tanky from there.
Yeah, it gives him the CDR and the AP that he needs, as well as some of the mono regen. He doesn't struggle too much with that, but
no. This mana regen.
This is yeah, exactly. The blue buff over to Inox. He has the tier, but this is what I was talking about at the start with. If you don't know matchups exactly, it's always kind of a struggle. You're sitting there in Champions like what do I play into an Urgot?
What counters Urgot?
Because it's a champion you don't see, especially in the mid lane. And it's just had this quick resurgence, or quick surgence.
Yeah.
It's not a resurgence.
I suppose, I mean, depends how far back you go. Season 2, he was all the rage in the AD carry role. But
Yeah, I said mid lane.
No, you're right.
Never played in mid.
Competitively, I can't remember a time where it was common. Yeah, I think you're right about that.
There's an article all about that stuff on LOLesports.com.
Oh, Sheep gets the stun before the Black Shield comes down. Good damage on the Otter. Impaler on the side as well. He does have the kick, and that will be the kill. They throw body drop back in. Veritas a bit low, but the damage still going to come through. Sheep gets the kill credit, but here comes Flares, trades one back. And the damage coming across, though. Flares will die for that, right, to get the kill.
3 for 1 at the end of that fight, and now they get to shove towards this turret, use the Tibbers to tank, and get this turret at the end of the day. Can't really push anything forward either on enemy's side.
But hey, something pretty positive for Final 5. They're within 400 gold because this really nice move. Props to Sheep to land the stun before Body Drop could react.
And Body Drop still has flash, too. There was just no way he was going to get out of that at the very end. So he saved it. Trashy, you know, he will get the dragon for it.
Well, pretty heads up then by NME eSports. They didn't try to get it earlier off of the bot lane kills. They found it more important for Trashy to get around the map and make other plays, but when everyone shows top, why not get an objective?
The flash, Tibbers stun, and then the black shield, there was nothing to do about that once it had been slightly delayed. Impaler comes in, and the TP placement here, Flares is really just there for the cleanup, but he only gets one, and Rux kind of just runs him around. He routed him there pretty heavily.
Yeah, I gotta say, it was actually really clever play by the enemy bottom lane. Body drop went for the ult, landed the stun. Otter pulled him back with Fate's Call, but Impaler was actually body blocking the Morgana escape, and was like, great, knock me up, I don't care, and it was pretty clever.
Yeah.
Like, kind of everyone involved.
That's why he didn't blow his flash either. It was like, get out, save yourself. It's like, I can't.
Nope. You're done on this one. So, final 5 within 1,000 gold. They swap back to the both duo lanes bot side right now. Both top laners missing teleport. Chooses to dodge instead of burn spell shield. I actually like that. I think it's smarter.
And here's the thing, Trashy wants to gank this bottom lane now. He's kind of tilted top. He's tilted the mid matchup. They did have that fight where things were kind of equalized, but this bottom lane is the only thing on the map that's really going to cause him big problems at the moment.
Yeah, 2-0-1, and he already has Distortion Mobies. Knockup does hit Trashy, so...
Just seeing Rek'Sai being burrowed and then knocked up at the same time. she looks pretty derpy. Her hands are like at her sides.
She's swimming.
Yeah.
Through the ground. Land shark.
Through the air at that point.
Unsurprisingly, doesn't swim very well in that. No wings on Rek'Sai. Air maneuverability a bit low. You think Anivia could just be like immune to rupture? She's not.
I guess she's like a gliding bird. She's like minorly flightless. Just like a
penguin?
Penguin plus, yeah.
Penguin plus?
Yeah, because she's
Was that like a new branding?
She's actually she's actually, yes. For you Emperor Penguins out there, can't find clothes that fit. Penguin plus. But
ooh, good play. He actually spotted that with just blind dark binding, gets the gold for it, says, hey, there's a Lee Sin in here. Check yourself. Flair's actually doing a pretty good job in the top lane. He's up 7 CS, really bullying around Rux.
He's up 2 kills too.
Well, I mean, yeah, like he's doing pretty well. He's got arm guard, Sork shoes. No combat stats really here for Rux right now. So forced back, and Flair's in a tilted, as you said, one-on-one lane. Gets the turret kill.
Forces Rux back. I was thinking about it.
Sorry, you're talking about penguins.
Yeah, I was talking about penguins. Sorry, my mind is just on that. Top lane turret going down, penguins.
Penguins.
But, so, the fact that he's tilted all these, I'm not going back to that.
I was really waiting for it.
I know, I saw your face. You were like, look at the penguins? But yes, no more about that. The top lane matchup, it's really just been in enemy's favor now because of the ganks, because of the camping early, and then they profit off of it and return the tower kill. So, Trashy, I expect to see him in this bottom lane fairly shortly, because this is the lane that Final 5 want to start leveraging. And he's a very intelligent player, and I think that that's going to be the plan coming from him, is that this is where they need to be.
You're absolutely right. Pink ward in that brush, bodied up now on his second dark binding attempt, trying to spot that out.
Oh,
hardcore aggression mid, they kick him back in. A lot of pain coming through. Inox forced to flash away, but Impaler already gets traded on. Trashy saw that coming. Actually, no, he's trying to force it, just the counter didn't go well enough. And 1 for 0.
Yeah, they pull down Hecarim from top. Up in the air! Whee! They get this turret too. Rux is showing up, but
oh! That is a 2-man knockup and a 2-man fear and a 1-man silence, and Flares gets away anyway. Gate looking for more, but body drop on the wrong side of this one. Gets out safely. Gets a bit of a slow.
Sheep.
Tibbers has some damage.
Trashy's off on the side though. Chasing this would be very deadly, but look at this. They're trying to get in there. Oh!
Nice. That's a flash silence.
Oh, it's just scream at him and he dies.
Well, it's a better version of Scions.
Yeah, that's true.
At least this one like feels menacing. Scion just like feels so derpy.
Everything's derpy today.
Not penguins. Penguins are regal.
Regal. That's why they are the Emperor Penguins.
Darn. See?
Why did we get back on penguins?
You started it.
You started it this time.
That's true. Either way, though, bottom lane turret's going to go down. Final 5. They are only down 2K gold. They're keeping themselves competitive here. Actually, mid lane going down as well. Really just great aftermath by these guys. Turret's now 3-2. Final 5 down in kills, down a little bit in farm, I gotta say. but certainly finding ways back in. NME eSports have only dropped one game all split. Granted, they're winning right now, but it's not by much.
Yeah, and it's approaching that mid game where this Rumble, that's the time where he shines. He has both spell penetration items that he needs. The next Dragon, NME have a lot of ways to fight this. In Final 5, question is, do they come in there with the IE of Sivir and think that this is their fight to take? And the positioning of the ultimate from Flares is going to be very important.
Problem is,
but you got to get there and you got to set up for it first.
Yeah. Well, the problem for Final 5 is Rux doesn't have an ultimate right now. If I check the timer, it will not be up as Dragon comes up. 10 seconds where Dragon's up and the Onslaught isn't. So maybe it can
take them about 10 seconds to do it.
Sure. Depends if they want to go to the backside, though. Knock up on the Gate is not a good thing for Final 5. He gets some trade back on a Flares, but Rumble will stay alive. Impaler caught by a bind. Body drop thrown into the team fight. And that is a Rend that will take him down. Another 2 for 0 on NME eSports. Get Dragon if they want it.
That's the thing. You come to set up for the Dragon a little early, and you can get caught out if the other team is doing exactly the same thing, but with greater numbers. Rux, not there. Flares is there to apply the damage, to get it down onto Gate, to shred him. And then the rest of the team, the bottom lane, was there immediately. Right? Like, Veritas isn't there to have his ultimate down and to help his team out. It was just NME being there a little sooner and in greater numbers.
Good things overall happening now. NME eSports feeling really good about how they're playing the map, and I gotta say, a pretty commendable game by these folks. 3,000 gold lead, 18 minutes in, 2 Dragons, same on turrets, up 3 kills. Question is now, what's next for them? Because it's not like it's this crazy teamfight comp necessarily. I feel like Engage is actually, oh my god.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
The chunk on that is immense.
I guess
Flair still has his ultimate. Does he want to luck it? Nope. He's not gonna go to chance it.
Apparently Fire super
Oh, Trashy sees this though. Trashy sees this. They know he's still there.
He's there. Ulti comes in, nicely spotted. Ulti out. The onslaught of Shadows, more like the offslaught of Shadows. And out goes Rux. You smiled. All right, it's good enough.
My eyebrow twitched too.
Great. Even better.
The offslaught of Shadows.
Nope. All right, Gate noms the blue buff for himself. See, more mid laners should play Cho'Gath so that your jungler can't steal your buff away. Like, outsmite that. Outsmite Feast. I dare you. It's gonna be hard.
I'll just play Nunu.
Just time to consume smite.
Yes.
Great. I'm glad you're gonna play no skill shot champions, Aiden.
Oh man, it suits
really complimenting your skill set here.
Yep.
Man, that is a low cooldown feat. He just used that.
Yeah, he did. He did. I mean, it is the Morellonomicon and the Ionian Boots of Lucidity, so that actually only has a 48-second cooldown on it.
Yeah, and it's 24 when used on things. So you can actually feast once per wave with this build.
It's true.
Gotta say, pretty happy things for him. Whee! Across the map goes Trashy. And here we go. Looks like bot lane is going to be the pressure point. Now, there are some defensive boards already here for Final 5. Veritas nowhere to be seen, but it means that bot lane is actually completely left open. By going for this red buff, they gave away control of the bottom lane. NME eSports spots that out very nicely. This turret's nearly dead. I think they can stay for it. Whee! And they can.
Yeah, Trashy immediately just shows up just to apply some pressure, but it was really Otter and Body Drop who had done all the heavy lifting there. Just intimidation factor at that point. And now 5k gold just off of that one little fight, and then the fact that they were getting these turrets handed to them off of seeing the map movements with their ward placements.
Well, this flank is going to be Final 5's hope to win it, but problem is he's seen by wards on the way over. Here's the Sivir ulti, the engage going to come in. Can they find anything? Flash Timber's going to get a little bit. Inox with Black Shield stays up. Kick on Body Drop. Hits 3. Inox incredibly low. Impaler hits the Q. Goes in. Somebody will keep them all alive. And Impaler will die to the Void Spike. It's a 3 for 0 in this fight. Final 5 are routed. It's 4 kills now as Flares picks up 1 more.
And now,
Baron,
are they going to go Baron?
Why not?
Yeah, they ping the Baron out here. Inox is a little low, but it's still very doable by them with Callista. The Smite is not available for Final 5 either. It's a 4 for 0.
It's Baron or mid-tier 2. They choose to go for Baron after all. I think it's the right choice here. NME eSports going to get the best objective they could have with this time on the map. And can he hit the Rend? Nope!
Doesn't matter, though. The Andy's not going to steal it away. And that's NME surging off to a huge lead. And this is the type of stuff we see from this #1 challenger team here, is they're getting engaged on here. This is just it looks like the fight the Final Five want, but the exhaust comes down on Rux, and he can't deal that damage to the backline. And meanwhile, Flares gets the TP after Final Five had completely collapsed past his teleport point. So he just comes in with the Flame Spitter and shreds everybody that passed him.
God, he destroyed everyone there. And I still got to hand a lot of props to the rest of NME for surviving the hard dive. Especially because NOCS, who's already tanky, got the Black Shield, and Otter still found a way to get out. So hey, good job by this NME eSports squad. But that was the chance Final Five had. That was the fight. They're like, okay, we're gonna go for this fight. If it fails, we probably lose. If it works, we got a real good chance here. It did fail. It's a 4 for 0. Baron picked up on the backside. Good objective call by NME eSports, but now very little Final Five can do in this game.
Yeah, and a lot of this is off of those early game ganks onto Rux. Right, Flares got some of those kills. He got that gold going for him. Then he just dominated top lane, took that turret by himself, and 5-1 and 2, needlessly large Rod on top of his penetration items for the mid game and his Zhonya's Hourglass. This Rumble is absolutely huge in this game. And Flares, he hit #1 in solo queue and in Challenger, and he's trying to show what can he do here.
Well, he's going to equalize her in the 1v2 pop. The Zhonya is the Flame Spitter on the backside, but the kick into the wall. Oh god, he was close, but he does finally go down. Impaler and Rux able to find the 2 versus 1. Problem is, mid's getting sieged. The recall's going to take a little bit of time. The question is, will NME eSports stay in this impending 4v5? I think it's likely they don't. They can back out and get a little bit of ward control and wait for their top laner to respawn.
And we talked about how there's so many playmakers on NME eSports, but Flares, when he gets camped, just like in their game that we saw yesterday, they use that to their advantage. They send 2 people top. Best possible scenario, 3v4 mid. So NME immediately push that advantage and get a turret for themselves. Now they're setting up for Dragon. But here's the thing, is Final Five already have vision of this area. They have pink wards around. They give up the Scuttler, but they're already in position.
All right, 20 seconds on the Dragon. And you can see Rux actually staying in base. He wants to home guard TP. Final Five, the last fight was maybe a 70-30. This was more like an 80-20, but it's still their best chance of saying, look, we know where NME eSports is going to be. We've got the wards to make a flank play, but guess what? NME eSports not playing that game. They just go right back to mid, head in the game for these guys. Really impressive stuff. Mid lane very low.
Yeah, if they're doing Dragon or threatening it, you just go mid.
Wow.
And you have the inside turn.
Really smart for NME eSports, just making the play, realizing, hey, this got left open. Mid inhib turret down, mid inhib nearly falls. Otter might want to wait for Black Shield. He knows Flash Andy could happen here from Sheep. The inhib goes down without a contest, and now NME probably could just go right for Dragon.
Right to it. And here's the thing, is this game is one of those games where it doesn't feel one-sided, but there's a 10k gold advantage at 24.5 minutes. Right? It's not like they're absolutely getting dominated. They're getting slowly but surely outmaneuvered across the map, and it's creating these piling on advantages for enemy.
Yeah, I guess you're right. A kill score, at first I was confused, like why you're going for that, but a kill score 11-5, it's an advantage, but you don't, 11-5, you know, it's rough, but like, you could win that, right? Like Dragon 3-0, it's bad, but you could win that. The problem is, it's a farm lead in still every single lane, even in jungle. Unfortunately not for support, so buy to drop, pick up some CS, come on, buddy.
Yeah, but it's one of those games
turret
where
lead, Dragon lead, everything.
You don't feel like you're getting, this team is getting absolutely crushed by the way that things are going, but they are.
Yeah.
It's a strange kind of way that the game feels.
Well, it's because you're 25 minutes in. Like,
it's so early.
It's normally not this much. Like, how would you get a 25-minute inhibitor kill? You know?
Off of people not defending it or rotating it appropriately.
Yeah.
Those are so hard to crack. People struggle with killing those turrets, and those turrets do not scale up over time. Right? Like, minions scale up.
Power.
Minions scale up over time, so that it's a little easier to take those turrets in late game. But they stay the same power the entire game, and they've already claimed it. And some people struggle with taking those turrets twice the time in the game.
That's true. You actually talk about minion scaling. I actually played a game. Actually, it's not going to be relevant to this game. We'll save it for later. Because that's going to be on 5.6 with some turret changes. So I'll save the story for another time. But NME eSports.
Now everybody wants to know.
If we have a downtime, but the thing is they're looking to close the game out right here with the pressure mid. So if they back again, I'll tell it.
Back again. Enemy, stop winning.
Look who backed. Backed again. NME. Buy some items. It got bad really fast.
I saw a Rap God video of you on Reddit.
More auctioneer.
And yeah, it's actually pretty nice. But
all right,
I didn't know that was gonna be the height of your career.
height? No. So
it's gone downhill pretty quickly. It's only been a day or two.
Wow. No, 5.6. Turrets do more damage to minions as time goes on. Tier 2 turrets will actually two-shot melee minions late game. They actually don't warm them up for you. They just like straight kill them on 2 attacks. I was on the receiving end of that, and I was like, oh, I missed gold.
That's new.
Yeah, I think it's unintentional, but we'll see.
Oh.
There's the engagement. Oh, they back up in time. Nice job. Final 5 will not find the fight they want. Rux goes, what? Nope, just kidding. Gallop forward, gallops back. Top turret's going to be available.
That was bad. The ultimate engage hits nobody. And then the TP from Rux, he looked raring to go. He had his motor running. He was gunning to get in there. And he just gets to run in circles.
Enemy said nay. Top lane inhibitor turret now under fire. 5 versus 5. TP in the front line. In goes Rux. Can they find the battle? The last chance for Final 5. Gate already brought down.
That ulti.
Rux will be the second casualty of this one, and just no damage coming through. Throw body drop into Impaler. Why the heck not? Gets the kill for it. There you go. 3 kills picked up. No defense possible for Final 5. And they go mid lane to ride the minions into the base. Body drop flashes, because why the heck not? The Q one-shots the entire caster wave. This is going to be GG. NME eSports going to end the Challenger regular season 9-1 in first place. Final 5 will be facing these guys in the playoffs. And with games like this, Final 5's days just might be numbered.
Right now, NME are making a huge statement for themselves. They are the #1 team, and they look like the undisputed #1 team.
Yeah. You mentioned at the very start, multiple threats on the roster. We said Inox's name a couple of times this game. He played Urgot. He had low kill participation. He was lauded initially as the carry of this team. Otter, he played Kalista. Kalista's normally a big sort of mid-game carry. Hey, he had a fine game. Okay, sure. Right? And in a lot of games, a 4-1 and 680 carry is a pretty good scoreline. But this game was about flares.
Yes, it was.
This game was about flares. His Rumble, 6-2 and 3. He got a couple of ganks, and he just ran the heck over the game.
He made it worth.
28 minutes. Sork Shoes, Haunting Guys, Zonia's, and Deathcap. Just destroying people really poorly, or just, really hard. So, hey, congrats to NME eSports.
Yeah, and everybody in the game pretty much did 10,000 damage. There was some 8,000 damage dealers, but Flares did 21,000. He did twice the next highest person in the entire game.
Yeah.
Absolutely devastating everybody. That ultimate at the end where he's just like, I'm going to throw this down in Zonia's was really well placed. His flame spitters were just shredding people, and they hit those mid-game power spikes at the right time, and they were elevated by the ganks from Trashy onto Flares. Really well played there. Very systematic when you have a Rumble on your team and you want him to be the carry. That's the lane you go to.
It's true. So, NME eSports, once again, they will end the split 9-1. 9-1 in 10 games. They dropped a single game to Fusion in a best-of-2. That was it. We'll see them as the first seed in the playoffs, and fighting them, again, will be Final 5, we just saw on the screen. But actually, to talk to us about Final 5's games and the road into the playoffs, we do have Inox to... Sorry, not Inox. What am I saying Inox for? I don't know why I said
That's
that.
Not
Impaler! Impaler is joining us. I don't know where that name came from, man. Welcome to the show. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good, but we just got stomped like 2 games in the past 2 days, so it could be better, but I'm fine, thanks.
Yeah, a lot of people have been stomped by NME, so it's like, it's not that terrible. People have gone through it, but like with the loss, Final 5, you guys are in 4th place, and that means you'll face this team again in the playoffs next week. And how will your team have to adjust, especially to the best-of-3 format?
I think we're going to play around with our pick ban a bit and change things up. We didn't really expect the Urgot pick, but we need to like nullify the early aggression to kind of get to a mid-game, late-game where we can actually have equal goal to take them on.
Yeah.
And I think if we succeed in doing that, maybe changing a few pick bans, then we should be okay.
Do you think that's where your team's sort of strengths lie, is sort of in the mid to late game and trying to play rotations and stuff?
Yeah, I think we've got a lot more experience in terms of like me and Sheep, so we can kind of carry the mid to late game decision making, but we need to get there in the first place to like be able to do that.
And what do you think the biggest problem is with getting there right now?
Flair's got a few ganks from Trashy, and we played the lane swap a bit poorly, in my opinion. We should have like pushed in top and done the same to Flair's. But when we didn't do that, they kind of get this free lead, and then we got picked around Drakes, and just too sloppy. We made too many mistakes.
All right, so a bit of a sloppy game, but hopefully you guys will have a much better road in the playoffs. So for both you and the guys at home, even if you do drop that quarterfinal matchup to NME eSports, you're still going to play in that 3rd, 4th place match. And if you win that match, you're still in the promotion tournament. So where do you guys see yourself playing in the playoffs and then potentially in the promotion tournament as well afterwards?
I think we can beat NME. It's a best of 3, right? So
yeah.
I think we can handle a best of 3 better than NME. But if all else fails, I think we'll be fine. Just NME's clearly like the strongest team right now, so I'm not too ashamed of like losing to them. They all played really solid, but I think overall we'll be okay still going into the playoffs.
Oh, that's right. I almost forgot. Happy birthday, by the way. Happy birthday.
Thanks.
Turning 20, I believe.
Yeah, I'm 20 today.
All right, well, man, happy birthday and good luck in the playoffs, and thank you for joining us for the interview.
All right, thank you.
All right, guys, well, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, it's going to be Moscow 5 legend Alex Ich, and he's going to return to the broadcast as he and the rest of TDK face off against CLG Black, and we'll show you how he absolutely crushed last night, right after this. Gets the stun before the Black Shield comes down. Good damage on the Otter. Taylor on the side as well. He does have the kick, and that will be the kill. Kick on body drop. Hits 3. Inox incredibly low. Impaler hits the Q. Goes in. Somebody will keep them all alive, and Impaler will die to the Void Spike. In goes Rux. Can they find the battle? The last chance for Final 5. Gate already brought down.
That ulti.
Rux will be the second casualty of this one, and just no damage.